We welcome you into the Kohl Center, where the Wisconsin Badgers play host to the Florida A&M Rattlers. It's their final tune-up before Big Ten play begins. Along with John Crispin, Jeff Levering with you. It's a packed house tonight in Madison. See Nigel Hayes getting his club ready for their final tune-up before their conference opener against Rutgers. And for you, John Crispin, this is a team in Wisconsin that wants to keep the efficiency going with their offense.
Well, efficiency is great. It's even better when you're scoring more points, and it makes sense considering Greg Gard had a full offseason to get these guys ready to expand upon that offense, get into the other options of the offense.
Greg Gard has been the head coach in Madison for just over 1 calendar year. Remember, last year took over for Bull Ryan in an interim capacity, and now leading his Badgers to a great record and a full season here in 2016-2017, and his Badgers certainly have responded well to him in his first full year.
Well, look, they responded well to him taking over last season. It was almost like a resurgence where you take a big step backwards, you go back to square one, which was the swing offense, and they've had a ton of success since then. And I was doing that game last year, his first game, and they came out, looked great, looked strong, and almost lost it at the end. Greg Gard's poor family, they were feeling every bit of that.
A win is a win is a win. And for the Badgers, they're looking for another one here tonight. They are ranked 14th in the country entering play this evening. And on the other side of Greg Gard and the Badgers, Florida A&M's head coach, Byron Samuels. It's been a long day for the Rattlers. Played last night against Samford, traveled all morning from Atlanta to Milwaukee, drove in today, and getting ready to play against, again, the 14th ranked Wisconsin Badgers tonight.
Would you say they had worse travel today than you did? Because you flew from Ann Arbor or Detroit.
I did.
To Milwaukee, had a little Christmas time with Brock Starr, your son, and family, and now here.
Yes, their travel was much worse than mine.
All right.
Much worse. And they're playing a little shorthanded are the Rattlers tonight as well. Only 8 active players. Immediately they go inside to Ethan Happ. And I would say the efficiency train has stopped right here at the Kohl Center.
Well, I'll tell you, it really starts and ends with 2 players. It's Ethan Happ and Nigel Hayes. Nigel Hayes more the distributor, the facilitator. I think that's what this team is at their best.
Tough shot inside for Florida A&M. Missing his first shot, Elijah Mays. Wisconsin, they're going to bleed that shot clock down, have steady possessions all night long. An early shot, just as I said that, from Vito Brown. We welcome all of our audience that was watching Minnesota defeat Arkansas State up at the barn. Along with John Crispin, Jeff Levering with you from the Kohl Center. Badgers had Ethan Happ score his first shot of the night as the Badgers hosting Florida A&M. Long travel day for the Rattlers today as Happ is a perfect 2 for 2 from down low.
Well, we've talked about the efficiency of this team, but it's also the patience. They've learned how to trust one another. They get to the right spots, and that's something that Greg Gard wanted to expand upon this offense last year, but really didn't have the time to do it.
Already great defense, one of the better defensive teams in the country. Nigel Hayes knifing his way through the lane.
Defense for them is discipline. You don't have to worry about effort, because if you don't put forth the effort, you're not going to play for this team. But they are always in position. They are in. The discipline is there every single possession on the defensive end.
Some depth now for the Badgers as well. Some of those young freshmen that got quality minutes a season ago, now sophomores. Good freshman class coming in this year as well for Greg Gard. Ethan Happ nearly picked up that pivot foot. There goes Showalter. And he's fouled. He'll go to the line and shoot a couple of baskets. Take a look at our starting lineups presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. We mentioned the Rattlers are shorthanded today. Their leading scorer, Desmond Williams, out. Got hit in the face in last night's game at Samford. And it's business as usual for the Badgers and Greg Gard.
Look, this is a broadcaster's dream of a starting lineup. It's the same one they had last year, so it's really easy for us. And simple names, too. I like easy names.
The ones you don't have to worry about for, half a day. How to say it right?
Yeah, we had an Onwu Niegwu at one point last season. You nailed it. I mean, you got it the first time. And
you nailed it too because you remember it a year later.
Yep, you're actually right.
Wisconsin up 8-0. And that defense continuing to be so strong for the Badgers, so fundamentally sound.
This is an interesting game for Wisconsin. Coming off the finals week, they just finished up finals today. They couldn't play a game until finals were finished. They finished up at 5 o'clock today, so they've had a few days off, and that's good and bad. It's good to kind of get your legs back under you. They've had some lungs and legs days, as Greg Gard calls it, which, as a player, I can tell you, I hated lungs and legs day. It's good to get back to practice, finals out of the way, and now getting ready for Big Ten play.
8-day layoff. Last time they played was a win against Green Bay. Their 6th consecutive win. Step back jumper, and finally the Rattlers are on the board. Elijah Mays knocks down his first shot.
Talk about the Rattlers. I know there's a lot of people that they don't really feel badly for college athletes, but I'll tell you, for Florida A&M, that's a tough travel schedule. Not only that, playing some good teams along the way.
Zach Showalter knocks down his first 3 of the night. Answers right back. It's been a grind for Florida A&M. We can talk about their story as the game goes on and what this program has gone through to get to where they are now as a Division I program. But today, long day, started snowing here in the Milwaukee, Madison area. Don't get a lot of snow down in Florida. Shot from way deep and it doesn't go, and Vito Brown corrals the rebound.
I was going to say, thanks for that, Stormy Warren, the weather. What do you call them? Meteorologists? Am I missing that? Meteorologist?
That's it.
Right?
That's
it.
it.
They got it right. Good find.
Showalter. And before the pass, he was fouled. They'll get Justin Ravenel on the personal.
It's amazing how much Wisconsin can get with Nigel Hayes in the post without even moving. There are no cuts. And they can get wide open shots because of what Nigel Hayes could do. He passes the ball so well, he can score down there, he gets guys in foul trouble. So the defense naturally converges, being concerned with what he can do.
Vito Brown's going to head to the bench. And Khalil Iverson is going to check in for the first time. Vito Brown's had a busy day today, sang the anthem with his family tonight. Bronson Koenig's first shot, a little short, and the rebound goes to Florida A&M.
It's interesting on that shot from Koenig. It's almost like he was too wide open. Very rarely do you get that wide open on an out of bounds underneath. Most teams, you scout, you know exactly what they're going to do. I bet he makes his next shot.
Koenig's been shooting great lately. That was a tough shot by Marcus Barham. Koenig shooting over 50% from beyond the arc over his last 3 ball games. Koenig, another good look from 3, and that one rattles in.
Love it when I actually say something that comes together. You know, like I bet he makes his next shot. He got that one out of the way, stepped into that good extra pass from Shoei.
Sounds like you need to go buy a lotto ticket.
Not a chance.
Foul on Showalter. That'll take us to our first media timeout, but a nice start for Wisconsin. They're up by 10 on the Rattlers. 10-point lead for the Badgers, and as always, BTN basketball is presented by April Air. We're at the Kohl Center tonight, last game before the Christmas break, along with John Crispin, Jeff Levering with you. And John, did you ever play back-to-back games?
No,
Not in a tournament?
not at all.
Okay, well, that's what Florida A&M's doing here today. Not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, this has not been easy, not at all. I mean, flying in from Atlanta this morning, having breakfast in Milwaukee, and then driving here, getting here at 11 a.m. That's 11 a.m. Central, too. I mean, they're changing time zones. I know it's not going California to Philadelphia, but seriously, that's no joke.
And a walk inside and another turnover for Florida A&M. Just a long day and a short roster, too.
Yeah, and the other thing is routines are so important in college basketball. I mean, just getting the shoot around in, if that's what your routine is, you know, or the walkthrough, they haven't really been able to do anything like that. So it really is hard to coach a team like this and get them ready for a game, not to mention a game against Wisconsin Badgers.
Zach Showalter a little short. Offensive rebound by Ethan Happ. And Bronson Koenig thought about it momentarily, but pulls the basketball back out. Ethan Happ underneath. Continues to be perfect from the floor.
It's funny, you see Nigel Hayes just probe so well. He's constantly looking across the court to find cutters, and he's not reading the cutters, he's reading the defense, and that's what makes him so dangerous as a passer.
His game has just gone to a different level when he's not relied upon to be the scorer. As a deep three goes down for the freshman, Brendan Miles. I think at times last year, maybe the beginning of this year, Nigel Hayes thought he had to do too much.
Yeah, a lot of issues come down to identity. Like, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be the scorer? And last year, he really wanted to be that three-man, shooting threes, and he's kind of gotten back to who he is right now. I think it's the best basketball player he could be.
Khalil Iverson fouled on the drive, and just the spacing is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, look at the vision, though. I mean, again, he's reading the defense. He's coasting the defense out with his eyes and reading the defense, taking what comes his way. And young kids out there, if you're reading your offensive player to make the right pass, you're always going to be a second behind. You've got to read the defense, throw to the open spot, force your teammate to go there.
Nigel Hayes, last 6 ball games, averaging 17 a game. He sits on the bench here for a moment. Charlie Thomas checking in. There's Koenig again from 3, a little bit short. And the rebound headed to Florida A&M. Interesting Tice on the floor as well.
Yeah, the interesting thing, too, with Nigel is we don't track hockey assists, but I'm willing to bet he has a ton of hockey assists. And for those basketball fans who don't watch a lot of hockey like myself, I don't even know why I'm talking about hockey assists.
Good reference.
But, hockey assist is the pass that leads to the assist. So I think he gets a lot of those as well. So he accounts for a lot of points for this team.
Corner 3 now by Koenig. And that one couldn't go. Tipped out by Thomas, and then Vito Brown had it stolen away. Numbers going for the Rattlers, and another turnover. Trice going the other way for Wisconsin. Vito Brown puts it on the deck and lays it up and in.
It's a great finish by Vito Brown. Team scout, they know that Vito Brown likes to catch and shoot, but they've got to start to respect his ability to dribble drive.
Really had a good conference season last year. He's turned that into a nice beginning of this season, his senior year.
But I know he wants more and can do more. Almost as if he needs one breakout game where he's knocking down those perimeter shots on the kickouts.
Nice drive by Iverson. Such an athletic guard in this program. Talk about a guy just waiting to live up to all that athleticism. He shows it in some flashes, Khalil Iverson.
You've got to learn your spots in the offense. It's not just, oh, I'm really athletic, everything's going to work out well for me. You got to know where you're going to get yours.
Another deep 3 by Barham. Cuts the lead in half. It's 20-10. Under 12 to play here in this first half. And Wisconsin pretty much doing whatever they want. Trice, a nice save. Trying to break the zone. 8 to shoot. Iverson looking for somebody. Vito Brown from 3. Short. Got fouled.
That's one where you immediately tell the official, I don't miss that badly.
Vito was asking for it, shaking his head as he went back on the other side. This one short, little bit of a heat check that time by Barham. Rattlers get the offensive rebound. Subs waiting to check in for Wisconsin. Happ, Hayes, and Jordan Hill. Wide open look. And it's knocked down that time.
The three-point basket is good by Miles.
And Brendan Miles picks up the 3.
Jeff, take a look at the Florida A&M bench. It's actually right now, there's not one guy, because 3 guys are checking into the game. There's not one guy. Strong finish by Charlie Thomas.
Charlie Thomas, built like a linebacker. Nice move that time. And the payoff is good, too, by Mays.
That's a great job reading the ball screen. Bronson Koenig. So you see, look at that bench. That's amazing.
There's nobody there for the Rattlers. 3 by Koenig, short. Off to a bit of a cool start for Bronson Koenig. Rattlers' best scorer on the bench. He's the one in the green tracksuit. Spent the better part of today in the hospital. Got popped in the nose last night against Sanford. Either way, Wisconsin out to a decent lead.
Yeah, Wisconsin's got things rolling. They're getting whatever shots they want. It's going to be key for Vito Brown to get things going, especially with Big Ten play up on us.
Basketball on BTN is presented by April Air, the #1 trusted brand in whole home air quality solutions for over 50 years. And brought to you in part by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. State Capitol in Madison. And when the action ends, the big show takes over. In-depth highlights from around the conference, post-game reaction, straight from the arena, and the complete breakdown of everything that happened. The big show coming up next on BTN, BTN to go.
This is dangerous territory for Florida A&M, especially against the zone. Wisconsin now, I mean, they had a lot of success against the Syracuse zone, particularly with Nigel Hayes in the middle of it. You can see Ethan Happ and Nigel Hayes doing some damage here.
Happ perfect from the floor. This Wisconsin team dominating in the paint, yet to really get their three-point shooting down. That's Trice. He's able to knock down a triple. They're now 3 of 10 from beyond the arc.
Trice just said, say what? What'd you just say about three-point shooting? I think there's a different kind of three-point shots, and this sounds weird, but try to make sense of it. I think shooting against the zone is a tougher shot to take because of the time you have to shoot some of these shots. The zone almost coaxes you into taking those threes. There are less rhythm threes against the zone. That one was a rhythm three where he got to put the ball down on the deck for a second, gather his feet, and take the quick shot in rhythm.
This is a Wisconsin offense that's built to beat any kind of defense too, because they just run their stuff.
Yeah, they really do, and I think that's the best way to beat a zone anyway, is to continue to run offense. Instead of just pass and stand, run a cutter through. Move the guards. Try to get your posts active.
And Nigel Hayes right there at the free throw line is Jordan Hill. Straightaway three, a little short. And Nigel Hayes playing the facilitator right at the free throw line.
I don't want to just say this because I'm trying to prove that the point I made was right, but even that shot from Jordan Hill, he's a good shooter, but he didn't really want to take that shot. There's no rhythm in that shot. It's wide open.
Nigel Hayes was kind of peeking at him saying, go ahead, take it.
Yeah, but if he just steps into it and shoots, he probably makes it. The second you think about it.
Ethan Happ, nice feed. Hill finished it off. Ethan Happ, what a great passer he is. Just a sophomore for the Badgers.
Part of the reason he's a good passer is he's always aware of the defense. He's looking for the double at all times, and when he reads the defense well, much like Nigel Hayes, he finds the open man.
Going down low to Ethan Happ. Another good feed to Hayes. Extra pass over to Jordan Hill. Happ going to work on the block. And he finally misses a shot. Ball's going to go out of bounds. And it's going to stay with the Badgers. Ethan Happ continuing to show his force.
Yeah, you got to be happy with this lineup. I mean, not to mention the experience, but you help all these inexperienced players come in and play with confidence.
Wednesday on BTN, conference play returns with a great doubleheader. First, Nebraska travels to Assembly Hall to take on the Hoosiers, followed by Caleb Swanigan of the 15th-ranked Boilermakers hosting Iowa. Super Wednesday, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, returns next week on BTN and BTN to go.
I'm pumped for that. I got that Purdue game. I'm really psyched about that. Big Ten play starts. Not to take anything away from Florida A&M and Wisconsin tonight, but at this point, you got to think it's about Wisconsin kind of getting themselves ready mentally, physically for Big Ten play.
And a couple of days off before the Christmas holiday, and then right into Big Ten play, they open up on the 27th against Rutgers here at the Kohl Center. Not an easy schedule to start for Wisconsin as Showalter misses off the heel.
And I wouldn't want to play Rutgers either. That's a team playing with a lot of confidence right now. They've got nothing to lose. That's a dangerous basketball team. Steve Pikiell doing a great job with them, just keeping everybody dialed in.
Did such a good job at Stony Brook before getting the job at Rutgers. Good putback by Derek Dandridge.
But what he did at Stony Brook was build a program. He really inherited nothing. He built a program, kind of established a foundation first, and it's exactly what he's got to do at Rutgers to be successful.
It's kind of what he's doing at Rutgers, too, kind of trying to build it up again as Trice knocks down the three-pointer, and they're starting to fall a bit for the Badgers.
I don't know, if I'm a coach, if I'm a new coach to the Power 5, I don't know if I'd want to inherit a lot of success or inherit what he's inheriting at Rutgers. I mean, really, the sky's the limit. There's no real expectations there other than to be competitive. And he certainly feels like he can do just that. I wouldn't really want to follow Tom Izzo, I'll tell you that.
Not that Tom Izzo's going anywhere anytime soon, but...
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I played at UCLA to finish my career, and everybody still talked about John Wood.
Sure, they still do.
I mean, still to this day. Well, how does Steve Alford compare to John Wood? You can't do that. It's not fair.
No, it's really not. And, you know, Los Angeles has some of the best broadcasters ever. You know, who's going to follow Vince Scully? Who followed Chick Hearn? You know, it's you want to be the guy that follows the guy. That follows the guy. The third one.
But even then,
it's still very difficult.
And it all comes down to expectations. I mean, people have expectations, especially at the high major level in college basketball. The expectations are high, and every coach is different. Every coach's personality is different, and you have to learn how to coach to your own personality, something Greg Gard's been really successful at doing here, following Bo Ryan.
No doubt about it. And to that point, Greg Gard, just a seamless transition to what he has done here. And don't take nothing away from last year's Wisconsin team that went on that great run into the Sweet 16. Xavier victory with Bronson Koenig, clutch shot at the end. I mean, one of the best games that you'll find in college basketball. But Greg Gard took over this program and started to trust some of the guys on this roster. You see that carry into this year, too.
Yeah, trust is ultimately the word. Without a doubt, trust is the word. He's trusting players on his bench to play not major minutes, but a major role. And a major role may even look like 5 minutes a game. But you have to, as a role player, kind of accept that role, relish that role, and make sure that you bring it every single night, because those 5 minutes may be key, important minutes.
And it's so important because it gives the guys that start the game a little bit of a break, too. Their numbers significantly down in their minutes this year.
And rotations are important. And you see a huge
My goodness. Vito Brown, he sang the low notes in today's anthem, but he got every high note on that block. Foul on the drive. Wisconsin's going to get it out of bounds. See another shot of Vito Brown's swat.
He said, no, no, no. That was as deep as I can go, by the way. Whatever, man. You're more of a soprano anyway.
I'm the baritone between the two of us.
All right, if you want to go there, that's fine.
Shades of Brown. Look, I go back to that Final Four where he sang the national anthem and gets fouled. He's going to have a chance to go to the foul line here. That's a special thing to be able to do. We're in our comfort zone. As a basketball player, you're in your comfort zone here on the court. I know there's a lot of fans watching. You're playing a game, but this is your comfort zone. Singing the national anthem is something else. And I don't know if you know this. My sister, who plays on the Villanova women's basketball team, she sung the national anthem last year. I couldn't be more proud to see somebody go up there, stand there in front of how many people. They also televised the national anthem at the Final Four, which just adds to the pressure. And Vito Brown did a fantastic job. My sister got out there, did a great job, and God bless him just for having the courage to get up and do that.
Like you said, you had to be more nervous to sing the national anthem than playing a basketball game.
Sure, again, I know there's pressure on the basketball floor, but that's just within what we do. That's within the realm of possibility. Singing the national anthem at the Final Four is on another level.
Nigel Hayes picking the pocket. And Showalter again comes up on the floor, and he was out of bounds. I mean, do we have enough over-under set on Showalter ended up on the floor?
I mean, seriously.
He's on the floor every game.
He's on the floor, tripping officials.
He was asking us to tell the officials, hey, man, I got out of bounds. He's like right in front of us.
You got officials doing Allen Iverson's over Showalter. That's great. Great shot of it.
Left hand was on the line as he was in contact with the basketball.
Officials do some vert drills. I like that.
That was nice. Vito Brown, not just a great basketball player, some great pipes too. Wisconsin folks having some fun with him on social media today because they knew he was going to sing the anthem. Good defense by Iverson. And the three rims in and out. Nigel Hayes corrals the rebound. Takes it up the floor himself. Largest lead of the game for the Badgers. There's Koenig from three. Knocks that one down.
That's a rhythm jump shot. It's on a kick out. You penetrate, kick out. Bronson Koenig's able to step into that shot in rhythm. Those are high percentage shots.
10-0 run for the Badgers. And an offensive foul on Florida A&M. We talked about Vito Brown and his great basketball, but listen to these pipes.
To kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas, Badgers.
20-point lead for the Badgers. Don't forget the State Farm halftime report with Mike Hall and Deion James is coming up once we get 3 minutes and 37 seconds down off our clock. Wisconsin doing what they're supposed to be doing, fine-tuning before Big Ten play opens up next week. 10 assists on 13 field goals, and Ethan Happ, a rare miss. And then the flush attempt on the rebound by Iverson. Out of bounds, going to stay with the Badgers.
Happ's one of those guys. He doesn't leave the floor too much, but he uses his body so well. Such a great skill to have. Footwork, body control, position, baskets.
Florida A&M just trying to get some positive vibes heading into their conference opener. Play Howard before that. There's a deep three, and it's no good. And Iverson, the weak side rebound. Demetric Trice on the floor. He's been fun to watch for the Badgers, and he's come in here as a freshman and getting some real quality minutes.
Yeah, he gives you a little something different. He's got a little wiggle to his game. He's going to push the tempo.
That one poked away right into the hands of Trice. Still some time. Trice with 3 on the shot clock. Short, Happ battling for the rebound, and finally coming away with it is Core. Nasir Core dishes off a wide open 3 is short. First miss from distance for Barham.
This is where if you're Trice, you want to have a good offensive possession. Last one was kind of ugly, bad possession. Now you got to get something good.
Brown doubled. Someone's open on the far side. That's Iverson. Happ had a perfect look and was thinking about his next move as opposed to catching the basketball.
I made that point about having a good offensive possession because ultimately that's what gives a coach confidence in you when it comes down to crunch time. If Bronson Koenig's in foul trouble and you've got to go to Trice in those important minutes down the stretch, you got to know that you can follow up a bad possession with a good possession. Gives you confidence in a young player.
Timeout called by Florida A&M. Talk about some things. Under 2 to play here in Madison. Mike Hall and Deion Thomas waiting in our Chicago studios for the State Farm halftime report. Tough look inside. And there's a foul on the Rattlers, and it's going to Wisconsin. Wisconsin shooting right around 45% from the floor tonight. Perfect from the free throw line. They'll get a chance at 1-and-1.
Talk a lot about this Wisconsin defense. You hear words like stingy. It's the pack line D. Well, ultimately, it's the position D. They put themselves in position to force you to take a certain kind of shot. And there's times where they give up a contested jump shot or a contested drive to the basket. But those are still low percentage shots. Their defense is so good, so disciplined, that they force you to take the shots that they're willing to give you.
They rebound exceptionally
That's
well.
position. It's all about position. If you're in the right position, you can get a body, you can check somebody out. You're there to get the rebound.
Look at the Big Ten. That is going to be such a key for teams that like Michigan, where they have those driving guards. Try and pick up rebounds off of misses. That's where Wisconsin really thrives.
I feel like Wisconsin is like kryptonite for some of the toughest teams in the league. They're kryptonite for Indiana. And not to say Indiana can't beat them. I'm just saying the way they play, it's tough for a team like the Hoosiers to get up and down the floor, find rhythm in the offense, and put up 100 points.
Just slow things down. Indiana wants to run.
They want to run it. And the interesting thing is, and I don't want to take anything away.
Good tip in by Vito Brown.
I don't want to take anything away from the Badgers offense. They scored 84 points a game over the last 6 games. So you can't say that they don't want to run up and down the floor, take quick shots if they have it. They're going to be aggressive, but at the same time, if they don't have something quick in the shot clock, they will work it. They'll make sure they get a good look.
Iverson kind of spun out of control there, lost it. Grimsing on his way back up the floor. Tough left-handed shot, and it got the roll for Justin Ravenel.
I like that shot. I like giving up that shot. You're allowing a tough one-on-one basket, but you're not going to overhelp, which leads to an easy drive and kick 3.
About 6 seconds between the game clock and the shot clock. Vito Brown taking that clock all the way down. Good look inside. Thomas turn around, and he got the roll. Florida A&M, 5 seconds to play here in the first half. Tough drive, the kick, and a wide open 3 falls for the Rattlers. And they get above 20 points, but still a great half for Wisconsin. They're up by 21.
Yeah, not much you can do about that last shot. You've got to be happy if you're Wisconsin. The execution on the offensive end. Few things they can improve upon defensively, but still, great guard. You got to feel good about this. First game in a while.
8-day layoff right before the holiday. And now Wisconsin with a big lead going into halftime. State Farm halftime report coming up. It's Mike Hall, Deion Thomas standing by. Badgers with a 43-point first half, well on their way to win number 11. Basketball on BTN is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Back at the Kohl Center in Madison, Wisconsin. And the Badgers with a nice 21-point lead right now over to Florida A&M. Along with John Crispin, Jeff Levering with you. And it was a pretty good first half for Greg Gard's Badgers. But what do you do to improve as you embark on Big Ten play coming up?
It's not just about improving in this game. It's about doing things that you need to be able to do well in Big Ten play. And that's good execution on offense. Get back to that stingy defense, forcing the offense to shoot the shots that you're willing to give up. The hard thing is you've got to stay in this game. You have to continue to push forward. Remember, this is a Wisconsin team that hasn't played in a while. This is one tune-up they have before Big Ten play starts on the 27th.
It's been 8 days since they were on the floor last to win against Green Bay. So now you got to put together 20 more minutes of intensity. And then just a couple of days before the Big Ten opener against Rutgers on the 27th. Wisconsin was able to do anything they wanted offensively. Pretty efficient. Ended up shooting 47% from the floor. Pretty good move from Florida A&M. Showing some good speed. Mays, and a miss there, that time by Ravenel. It's where the defensive intensity, just, you got to carry that over here to the second half. I know you're thinking about the holidays, but that's where Greg Gard and his coaching staff can really come up big.
Yeah, there's still more to learn about this team. They did not shoot the ball particularly well. They got good looks in the first half. See Vito Brown getting a chance stepping into it, knocking it down. That's just what they've got to do. And this starting lineup may not play a lot of the second half. You see a foul on the screen. I love the look of the Looks like the coach says, what do you want me to do?
It's not a good screen.
I mean, I've got to call that.
Showalter on the ground again. That's number 2 in our over-under game of Showalter on the ground.
I'm going to say 6 in the next 2 minutes.
And part of that is diving on the floor, getting loose balls, and getting up for rebounds, going to the basket, taking contact, just the way he plays.
It's all hustle. It's not false hustle either. It is all his game as Vito Brown goes to the rack. A little bit slow to get up.
I think that's a good thing to see from Vito Brown, though. As I said, he's a guy we can see more and more from. I think called an offensive foul on that. Interested to see where his feet were. Yeah, he got outside of it. It's such a bang-bang play. I would hate to be the official that has to call that. Steps right into it. It's close. I hate charges anyway. I do, and it's a part of the game. But you're not trying to stop the play. You're trying to say, hey, run me over, and it's a foul on you. Like, it's the right play. Don't get me wrong. It's just a tough one to get right for officials.
It's one of the toughest calls in any sport to make.
It just leads to anger on Twitter.
And that's
None of that at all.
That's what sports is all about.
Holy smokes. I mean, we put up my power rankings, and I was like, got all these Maryland fans mad at me. I'm saying, look, they may finish top 5 in the conference, but I just haven't seen them playing against good competition yet. I mean, they're squeaking out close games. I know that's what they do, but they certainly have not reached their potential yet.
Dandridge very short on the 3, and Florida A&M not able to capitalize on the rare turnover by Wisconsin. Badgers have turned it over 7 times in the game as Happ goes down low. Good feed. And Nigel Hayes with an offensive foul. And Hayes just gets up and has a smile on his face.
I thought it was a good play on both plays. Hayes did a good job of controlling his body and finishing the shot.
Second time Dandridge has drawn contact from the Badgers in this second half.
Half of charges are about the position, too. It's not about running over there last second. Those usually lead to blocking fouls. But getting yourself in position early enough to stand in there and take the charge.
Hayes, very quick guard. 4 to shoot. And the lefty ends up a little long. Ravenel. And Wisconsin going the other way. Florida A&M shot just 31% in the first half. They're under 30% now, beginning of the second half. Happ trying to get Showalter, showing in the paint. Billy Liverson and Charlie Thomas are going to check in for Wisconsin. Vito Brown ahead of the bench, and Ethan Happ as well. These are quality minutes for the guys off the bench. Thomas going to be relied upon big time, replacing Brown and Ethan Happ down low. And Thomas pushed off. I don't think he knows how strong he is.
I mean, that was a Debo move, and I'm quoting the movie Friday. I mean, maybe I'm dating myself. Ice Cube, come on, Levering.
Oh, I got you.
Debo. He just turned, and it's a discard.
That was
the
a discard.
official
You're right.
term. That was a healthy discard.
So if you're coming out of halftime and you're Greg Gard and you've seen a couple of charges and that offensive foul on Charlie Thomas out of bounds off of Florida A&M, how do you take the first 3.5 minutes out of the break if you're Greg Gard?
You got to get the defense moving. You got to get them out of position. They're taking charges. They're in position to make plays on the defensive end. So start getting them to work a little bit. Make them move side to side. Get that ball swinging back and forth.
Already 5 turnovers for the Badgers in this first half. They have 5 the entire first half.
You can understand a bit of complacency. And even us as broadcasters, I mean, it's easy to kind of get lost in a game where, as a coach, you're going to look at every single possession and say, guys, what are we doing here? Because if we can't do this right now, how are we going to be able to do it against Rutgers, Indiana, Purdue, Michigan, Ohio State, next 5 games?
What happens if you have a big lead against one of those teams, too, as the shot comes up short from Mays? Those are the teams, Indiana, that can come back on you if you're down by 20, get out to a big lead. Indiana can come back and get that quickly. Hayes, a nice drive, pays it off.
Great job keeping his feet. Good balance.
Short on the 3 in response from Barham.
And Florida A&M with some quick possessions. You've got to know who you're playing against.
And Hayes, another great feed from Bronson Koenig. I think Greg Gard had seen enough and said, all right, guys, let's run our stuff.
Yeah, you got to run your stuff, but it also comes down to a good seal by Nigel Hayes there. He gives the off arm, says, this is where I need the ball if I'm going to score, and Bronson Koenig puts it right there.
Got a foul. And we'll take a quick timeout here in Madison. Badgers still comfortably out in front of the Kohl Center. That's the starting five consistently in the last 2 years for the Wisconsin Badgers, and we're seeing with some depth for Wisconsin can do the minutes from last year to this year, and you know, a little bit of a break for some of these guys in the non-conference play.
Depth is a byproduct of trust. Greg Gard has trust, and I also think that trust comes from players understanding their role and their space within the system. Greg Gard has a system, and players that come into this system, first and foremost, they know they're not starting. We know who the starters are. There's a reason why those guys are there. That's a great starting lineup. It's the same starting lineup they had last year. So everybody else has to come in, fill a role within this system. If you can't play within the system, you're not going to play.
Start talking about systems as Jordan Hill on the floor for Wisconsin in the place of Bronson Koenig. Nigel Hayes, nice dish out to Trice. Hayes does it again, and Trice fills it up. He's got 9.
Jordan Hill could have taken 3 shots on that play, and God bless him for having the patience and discipline to keep that ball moving. And I'm sure it's something that Greg Gard and his staff talked about in timeout.
Elijah Mays answers with a 3. We're talking about systems, and Greg Gard has his. How does it differ from the system that Bo Ryan ran here?
Well, the system that Bo Ryan finished up with was certainly a little different than the swing that he started with. This is more back to the swing, but they're getting to the other options within the offense. Their counters are there this year. They're going to continue to develop this offense more and more as the season goes on, but they're not there yet.
Thomas trying to get his own rebound, corralled by Florida A&M.
And Greg Gard said, look, these guys are starting to get it, but almost a second too slow. They need to get to a point where everything is instinctual, where it's a read and a reaction, more so than a thought process, because the second you think, you're too late.
Also so important for these young guys to get minutes is Thomas. 3 feet inside from Iverson, because 4 of the 5 starters for Wisconsin after this year are going to be gone. So these guys have to get minutes so they can learn on the fly. Wisconsin is up by 30, and we'll talk more when we return to the Kohl Center. Farm assist in the game comes from a couple of sophomores, Khalil Iverson to Charlie Thomas.
There's ball fakes, there's body fakes, and that's an eye fake. Talk about not telegraphing your pass. Iverson was looking 6 rows up in the stands when he dumped that down to Charlie Thomas.
15 assists on 20 makes for the Badgers. It goes back to what we talked about when we came on the air today, John, about the efficiency of this offense.
It's hard to measure efficiency against this kind of opponent. I don't mean to take anything away from Florida A&M, but you really want to see how efficient this team is against a Big Ten team who knows them well, who understands this offense, and is certainly going to get used to playing them.
Dandridge got a little bit out of control there on his drive, but Ethan Happ got a piece of him. So Dandridge going to go to the line and shoot a couple.
That's the team's 4th.
A guy like Ethan Happ, Big Ten freshman of the year last year in the conference. Obviously going to get bigger, stronger. And Ethan Happ, you know, what strides does he need to make to get himself better before Big Ten play?
Well, I mean, I don't know if he could do it, but he's certainly got to work on it. He's got to improve on his foul shots. I mean, he's got to be able to knock down foul shots because of what he does so well in the post and because of the playmaking, the passing ability of Nigel Hayes. He's going to get to the foul line a lot. He's got to be able to capitalize on those foul shots. I think moving forward, he's got to develop that 15 to 18-foot jumper. But if he doesn't, then he's just a great college player, which heaven forbid.
Missed that time from Florida A&M, and Ethan Happ with another rebound. He has 8 so far in the game tonight. Happ double figures in 9 straight games. He was the focal point of the offense early. Behind the back pass Out of bounds, going to stay with Wisconsin. Showing a little flash.
Yeah, the cutters are not as open as you think they are. I think defense there, good help defense coming in on that backside. They're taking away a lot of the cuts. I think if anything, you got to fake that pass to the cutter and kick to that opposite corner for an open three.
Jordan Hill and Demetric Trice on the floor at the same time. Trice, good ball fake. Just inside the three-point arc and a little bit long. Not a bad shot, though. Trice tried to get a steal. Three by Mays. And that an air ball. Alex Hill and Koenig to check in for the first time for the Badgers. Next week, it's a doubleheader. Conference women's hoop action. Michigan hosts Rutgers in Iowa and Illinois. Coverage starts at 2 Eastern Wednesday on BTN. Streaming live on BTN to go.
I don't mean to pump another conference, but did you get a chance at all to watch any of that UConn-Nebraska women's game?
I missed that one.
UConn, it's amazing what they're doing, what Gino Auriemma has been able to do there. It's probably the only thing that's closest to John Wooden and UCLA as we'll ever see in our lifetime.
It really is just incredible. You talk systems and just great players, great recruiting.
86 games in a row. I don't care if you have 5 NBA players on your team. Every now and then you can lose a game. I think it's phenomenal, and I don't think you're ever going to see that at the men's game. When I say I don't think, I know there's not a chance. With the parity that we have, with the amount of athletes and players that are out there, you're just never going to see that in the men's game. And once Gino Auriemma leaves UConn, you're probably never going to see it again in the women's game either.
No, I agree with you. Saw a stat when UConn played against Notre Dame's women's team, number 2 in the country. Corner 3 by Koenig, a little long. Notre Dame, their women's program is one of the best in the country, and they only have 2 losses in the last 5 or 6 years, and then they just can't beat UConn.
They were number 1 coming into this season, or at some point this season, which doesn't really make any sense to me if you got a UConn team that hasn't lost in how many years?
Yeah, how do you put somebody ahead of that? Great questions. All get figured out as the season progresses. Ethan Happ down low with the left hand.
As I said before, I mean, he barely leaps over a phone book when he goes up for that left hand hook. He's got such good position. He gets his footwork right. He can play off of both shoulders, which a lot of guys struggle. They're either left shoulder right hook or right shoulder left hook. He's got both sides.
Another rebound for Happ, number 9. He's 1 rebound and a couple of points shy of a double-double. And Alex Ilakanen off the bench with a bucket and a chance for a 3-point play. Getting scoring from everybody. Badgers comfortably in front.
Gotta like when you come off the bench, you make something happen. Young guys being aggressive. Gotta keep your foot on the gas.
Let's take a look back. Nigel Hayes and what makes him so good. Ultimately, it's his playmaking ability. It's not just his ability to score. It's how he makes his teammates better. It's how he looks off defenses. Kind of carves apart the defense with his ability to pass. And we're going to talk about defense keying on one guy. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. It's all about getting defense to collapse to the paint. He's got the vision to find an open teammate. Wide open 3. That's a high percentage 3. All because of what Nigel Hayes can do.
And that is why he is our Culligan pure and simple difference maker. Each and every night he does something to make this Wisconsin team better. 20 minutes today, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and Happ with a steal. Behind the back to Trice.
It's impressive. He's a big guy. Look, he led the team in steals, led the Big Ten in steals last season. Does such a good job of anticipating, but also having the balance, presence of mind, handling the basketball. See Brevin Pritzel get another steal.
Pritzel with the...
Wow. Come on, dog. You can't call out the man bun when he's throwing it down with the left hand.
That's how he got the hops.
The man bun.
I mean, it's not Michael Finke status yet, but it's close.
That's the Last Samurai. That's Tom Cruise's Last Samurai. That's Pritzel's definitely going with the man bun. Okay, I'm with you.
All right. Jordan Hill able to get the rebound. A lot more transition game. There's Pritzel. And an air ball. I think he was still a little fired up from the dunk. Now he gets on the floor and saves it. And Happ fouled from behind.
This is just great defense by Ethan Happ. Around the back pass. Certainly gaining confidence. And then Brevin Pritzel with the man bun, as Jeff Levery said.
Bench loves it.
He had short hair last year. I mean, he must be taking something. What's it called? What's the stuff you take to have your hair grow?
I'm not sure.
Gosh, I'm going to think about getting back to you on that.
Shooter's roll. It's been that kind of night for the Badgers. They've given up just 3 points here in the second half to Florida A&M.
I didn't even see it. I'm trying to find out what that product is. Probably need to get on it myself.
Pritzel spent most of last year injured, had a bad foot.
Biotin. It's biotin. That's what it is. Act like you don't even know.
I don't. You lost me there, John. You don't lose me often, but you lost me on that one. Pritzel with an offensive rebound. Foul. He's going to go to the line. Remember Greg Gard talking about Brevin Pritzel last year about being one of the best pure shooters on this team. He'll take that air ball out of it that he shot a couple of minutes ago, but it's a nice weapon to have off the bench.
Yeah, look, he's not just a shooter. He's a scorer. He's a flat-out bucket getter. He's the kind of guy, though, he's going to have to figure out how to be a role player. And I can understand how much of a challenge that is. When I transferred from Penn State, I went from playing 30-plus minutes a game since my freshman year to playing 5-10 minutes a game at UCLA. And it's a tough challenge to figure out how to get rhythm without playing a ton of minutes. And I think it's something, if Brevin Pritzel can figure that out, he's going to be really successful.
Pritzel with 3 points off the bench. We saw another look at that Ethan Happ behind the back pass. Bench loving every second of it. Nigel Hayes, Andy Van Vliet on the floor.
I think we already got our assist of the game, man. I think we might have to have a second.
Can we double? I'm sure State Farm would be okay.
Yeah.
Dandridge puts the shoulder down, and he was fouled. Charlie Thomas charged with personal.
Just do it again and send him a bill.
Thomas is second, the team's fifth. Line for Florida A&M, Dandridge shooting 2.
I don't think we have mulligans on our assist of the game, do we?
No.
Okay. Dandridge misses the first. Just been a tough second half here for Florida A&M. 1 out of 14 from the floor. And after what they've gone through to get here tonight, you don't see a lot of college teams other than in a tournament play back-to-back days.
Yeah, it's not like they have their own plane. I mean, they had to fly from Atlanta to Milwaukee, have breakfast, drive in town. I mean, look, it's not easy. Playing against some stiff competition, too.
And 3 men down. They've got 8 able bodies available tonight. Van Vliet thought about it. Now Trice, 4 to shoot. Van Vliet gives it up to Pritzel.
Andy Van Vliet's a guy that last year, Bo Ryan even said he's got a little of John Lawr in him. He looks like he might weigh $120, but he's got a lot to his game. He knows how to use his strength.
Aaron Maish is going to check in for Dimitri Trice.
I mean, look at that. Look at that stash he's working right now.
Maish is...
That is serious.
That is strong facial hair.
Seriously, that's got to be glued on. It takes a lot to grow something like that. I mean, I've shaved and tried stuff like that out, taken a selfie and laughed at myself, maybe share it with some people close to me, but then I immediately cut it off.
Thomas tried the tip dunk. And now a shot from inside the arc goes down for Ravenel.
Can you even grow facial hair? I'm looking at you right now. I don't know if...
I got like 2 days growth going right now.
Wow.
Yeah. It would take me a year and a half to grow the Maish.
Can't have it all. It wouldn't be fair.
No. 70-27 Wisconsin in charge. Basketball on BTN is presented by April Air, the #1 trusted brand in whole home air quality solutions for over 50 years. Brought to you in part by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. And by Culligan. Better water, pure and simple. Wisconsin well in command of this ball game. Unloading a lot of their bench. Andy Van Vliet, Aaron Maish on the floor right now. Brevin Pritzel.
And even though it's a blowout, these are guys that are looking to earn more time.
Van Vliet, a little strong. Charlie Thomas goes back up with it and passes it off to Maish, and they're going to reset their offense.
Hey, you want to show coach that you can come out here and do something, even with a short amount of time. You're not going to turn the ball over. You're not going to be careless.
Charlie Thomas draws an offensive foul, trying to get position down low on Brendan Miles.
That's something we've seen a lot of officials this year, really cleaning up that post play, that fighting in the post. As you go back 5, 6, 7, 8 years, some of the fighting in the post was violent.
Like an MMA octagon.
Yeah, but you watch it, and you're like, there was a swat and a swim move. I mean, a few elbows. One guy's using his knee to drive out the offensive player. It's no joke. I think they've done a good job cleaning it up. And as Big Ten play progresses, I think they'll loosen up a little bit and let a little more go. And we should correct something. A lot of people say, oh, well, they just stopped calling that once the Big Ten play comes around. No, it's not that they stopped calling it. They figure out when the offense or defense is trying to gain advantage from the contact. And if there's no advantage gained, a lot of times they just let it go.
Teams do a good job of adjusting to it as well. Van Vliet. Nice move by Jordan Hill. The offense just running what they do. Maish. Trying to get Maish in the score column here tonight. Got to imagine that. He came into the game with about 9 minutes to go. Jordan Hill beats the shot clock.
Jordan Hill's got that in his game, too. I mean, he really can. He can get it and go. He can make one-on-one moves. And I think, in a way, under Bo Ryan, he was held back a bit. That's not a knock on Bo Ryan. You can't knock Bo Ryan, Hall of Fame coach. Just saying that some players thrive with a little bit more freedom. Jordan Hill being one of them.
Maish with the steal. It was fascinating to see the minutes for Jordan Hill as soon as Greg Gard took over, skyrocketed.
Yeah, I think just it also comes with confidence. I think he had more confidence and a longer leash under Greg Gard.
Van Vliet wide open.
Okay, you gotta be assertive when you shoot that shot. The second you wait, it throws off your rhythm.
Good drive to the hoop by Justin Ravenel, leading scorer for this Florida A&M team. Van Vliet before the game today, right after they were going through their warm-up walkthrough. Charlie Thomas down low, good feed from Van Vliet. Van Vliet was sitting in the front row of seats and trying to knock down a shot. It only took him 4 attempts to get it in the hoop, sitting down from the front row. I thought that was impressive.
It's impressive. I want to see him just do that standing up from the three-point line.
No kidding.
You know, he can. Don't get me wrong. He's a very good shooter. And I love him outside, you know, kind of playing that outside-in game because he can also see over top of the defense. He's not a 6-foot guard.
You look at Wisconsin after the Christmas break. They get right back into Big Ten play. Started up with Rutgers. Then a little bit of a gauntlet into the state of Indiana. Got Indiana, then Purdue, then come back home for Ohio State, Michigan. That's no easy first 5.
No, it's not at all. And I wouldn't really want to play Rutgers right away either. I think Rutgers is playing as if they've got nothing to lose, a lot to prove, a lot of swagger. I think it's something Coach Steve Peichel really instills in his players, confidence, swagger.
At this point, do you think Rutgers is kind of playing with house money?
Absolutely. I think you got guys like Corey Sanders who didn't even know if he was going to come back. He comes back, you got tough guards, him and Mike Williams. They just go. They get up and down the floor. They kind of remind me, and maybe this is ridiculous, is of the old Florida Gulf Coast. You know, just looking to get up and down the floor, run, play with tempo, try to defend, but ultimately just pick up the pace of the game. Play with confidence, throw lobs, miss dunks, whatever. Just go out there, play, and be assertive.
Florida Gulf Coast a couple of years ago, that was Dunk City, right?
Yeah, it's Dunk City. And I had Florida Gulf Coast and Michigan State earlier this season, and they're not really Dunk City anymore, but they still play with a lot of confidence. Great move.
Nice move, but no finish. Maish able to finish it off. Maish with his first points of the season. TJ Schlund also into the ball game.
Basket by Ravenel.
Long two by Ravenel. Bench getting a lot of time tonight for Wisconsin. Van Vliet, this is a nice little extended amount of time for Van Vliet. Straightaway three. That one down. Knuckleball action with his shot.
Yeah, that's what he can do, though. He's got that lefty shot. He could be a great trailer. I really do. I think him as a trailer, whether it be setting a ball screen, trailing the play, stepping into a three, I think he could be dangerous. Also making that entry pass from the top of the key.
Van Vliet thought about it momentarily again. 3 rebounds off the bench. Van Vliet reminds me a lot of Mo Wagner from Michigan last year.
Yeah, Mo Wagner's really developed his game. How about that?
He was really impressive last night at 13 points in the first half against Furman. Jordan Hill splashes one down. Wisconsin almost at their average for points in a ball game, or over it as a matter of fact.
Yeah, their average over the past 6 games, though, 84 points. It's good to see them scoring more points, playing with more possessions. They didn't really want to play as slowly as they did last year. They were just very efficient. You know, they really didn't develop that offense to the point where they're at now, and I think this is something where they're going to continue to improve and be ready once again come NCAA tournament time.
With 2 on the shot clock, and Van Vliet rips down another board. That's number 4 in just 7 minutes of action. Inside, and Illikainen was fouled. How about Van Vliet?
Van Vliet's the kind of guy, if you give him open looks, he's going to make that. I think he's the kind of guy you want to give him more and more minutes.
Studios in Chicago. Get your back out for the final few minutes of the game in just a second. But want to remind you, when it's done, stay here. We got everything you need in the form of a post-game show we call The Big Show. Highlights, reaction, and analysis coming your way from Madison as the Badgers are about to wrap up the victory here over FAMU. The Knights and the Gophers both trying to go to 12-1 on the season. Who saw that for either of them? Well, one of them got there, one did not. And Deion Thomas gives his first semester All-Big Ten team. That's after the game. For now, back out to Jeff and John.
Lots to be excited about if you're a Badgers fan. Up 81-33 right now. And Dimitri Trice, our Duluth trading hardest working player.
Well, great job coming off the bench, being assertive, knocking down shots. And he adds a little extra something to this team. And you got to be happy with the future, what Dimitri Trice brings.
14 points to lead all scorers in just 17 minutes for the Badgers tonight. And everybody that has touched the floor so far for Great Guard has scored, with the exception of TJ Schlund. He's in there now and got 2:15 to try and get a bucket. Illikainen. Matt Ferris on the floor now as well, who's played just 6 minutes this season. Charlie Thomas tries from 3.
He really does. He's got that. There are times earlier in the season where I feel like Charlie Thomas settled for easy threes just because he's playing against the 5 who's not going to cover him out that far. But I like the fact that he can shoot it.
Dandridge fouled by Thomas.
The Wisconsin fouls on Matt Ferris.
Adds that extra dimension to the Wisconsin offense, of course, for Charlie Thomas. Looking for bigger and better things in his sophomore season. Was good as a freshman, but certainly some room for improvement.
Well, certainly a higher level of comfort there from Charlie Thomas. Comfort gives you confidence. Bottom line. Look at this Wisconsin team. As we showed power rankings earlier, I have Wisconsin at #1 right now, and I do think they're the team that's built for a good run in Big Ten play, but also built for postseason. I think they beat a lot of good teams. As I said before, I think this team today, they play North Carolina, would beat North Carolina. They really did not play their best game.
That Ferris too strong. Brevin Pritzel with an offensive rebound. And Ferris saved it.
Looking at the Big Ten as a whole, though, as a conference, you have the top of the pack. There's Indiana, Purdue, Wisconsin. Put them in whatever order you want. Doesn't really matter. But then after that, it's really anybody's ballgame. Like I said before, I got a team like Maryland at 9. Well, they could very well finish 4th or 5th.
Michigan State's going to turn things around. Their young freshman is starting to figure it out. You get Miles Bridges back. Van Vliet stepping right into it. Ohio State, Michigan. Iowa, to me, is a scary team. Minnesota is a very scary team. Illinois, a team that could be an NCAA tournament team this year.
Once you get past that top three, it is anybody's Big Ten, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, part of me just wants to write 1 through 3 and then say after that, who knows? Really, who knows?
It's going to be fun. And it all starts next week. 27th of December for these Badgers against Rutgers. And then New Year's Day. 42 seconds left for the Badgers. And they've used everybody at their disposal here tonight. And they have just taken it to Florida A&M. Van Vliet, another three. He's got 9 points off the bench and a career high.
This is a real game changer because right now he's playing the 5. Much like Vito Brown's been able to do, where he steps out, he's being covered by a 5. He's more of a pick and pop guy, catch and shoot guy. Van Vliet can do just that.
3 rattles home for Brendan Miles. Biggest win in school history for Wisconsin is 58.
It's always good to be a part of history with you, brother.
Appreciate that. Every broadcast is history, John, with you.
I will say, regardless of the lopsided score, for Greg Gard, you've got to feel good about this performance. You shot the ball very well. Your defense was set, played good position basketball. But going forward, he's got to start to figure out who he's going to go with, who that 7, 8, 9, 10 guy is going to be on this team, and how much he can rely on them to play significant minutes.
Really terrific showing from the 14th ranked Wisconsin Badgers. They'll have Christmas off and then get back to work against Rutgers on the 27th of December and start Big Ten play. And again, everybody got involved in this one for Greg Gard, John.
Oh, it's good to do that, too. You're coming off of a week where you had finals, no games, some limited practices, and as Greg Gard said, it's some lungs and legs days, and players don't like that, but it's ultimately what gets them ready to play in a game like today.
3 in double figures for the Badgers today. Thomas with 11, Brown with 11, and Trice with 14 off the bench. Stay tuned. The big show's coming up next. This has been an exclusive presentation of the Big Ten Network. For John Crispin and our entire crew, I'm Jeff Levering saying happy holidays from Madison.